Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of applications of percentages. So I'm going to have a look at simple interest, not compound. Now be very careful because compounding interest is actually what you pay on any loans you get, but we're just going to calculate with simple interest this year. And also just having a wee look at foreign currency so you know what's happening. Okay, so let's get started. You won't need to take any notes on this, you just might want to watch it. Okay, so simple interest. Okay, so it's basically the same as my increasing and decreasing method, but we also can have time as a factor as well. So if you remember increasing and decreasing by a percentage, I'm pretty much going to use the same system, but I can also use time. Okay, some keywords you need to know. Principal, this is actually the amount you either loaned or invest. Okay, so invest if you're putting it into savings or something. Loaned means I need to borrow off somebody else. Interest, this is the percentage that the extra money that or the extra percentage you'll have to pay back for borrowing the money. Or if you put the money into savings, it's how much money the bank or whatever is going to pay you. Okay. Rate, that's just basically the percentage. Okay. And time. Now, often it's a year, which you'll also see written as per annum, which is Latin for per year. But it can be more and less than that, and I'll show you how to deal with it. Okay, let's get going. Larry needs a loan for a new mower. He borrows $300 at 15% interest for a year. And how much is the interest? Now, there's some critical factors here. First of all, you might notice that there is the principal. This is the rate. It's interest, and it's for a single year. So that's the main information I need to get here. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do an increase. So I'm just going to work out how much he's going to pay back in interest. So I'm going to go $300 times 15%. Okay. All right. And I'm going to run that through my calculator. And that tells me he's going to have to pay $45 in interest. Okay. So the total he's going to pay back is, of course, the initial $300 he borrowed plus another $45 in interest. So at the end of a year, he's going to have to pay back $345. Okay, so the $45 is really the cost of him borrowing that money. Now, his mate Bob is buying the same mower and the same percentage, but he's going to work really hard and pay it back in 6 months. So this is where the time factor is going to come in. So this time I'm going to do the $300. I'm going to times it by the 15%. But instead of paying a year, he's paying 6 months. Now I know that 6 months equals half a year. So I'm also going to times this by a half because it's half a year. Okay, so let's just run that through. Good-o, and that would tell me that he's only going to pay interest of $22.50. So by paying it back in half the time, Bob's actually saved a bit more money. So it's only going to cost Bob $322.50 for the same price, okay? Now see this year, the half a year here. If it was, say, 3 months, 3 months would be quarter of a year. If it was 1 month, then you'd say, well, 1 month is 1 out of 12, isn't it? Because there are 12 months in the year. And so you can adjust the fraction like that. Okay, here we go. Next one, Marie invests $1,000 at 4% for 5 years. How much interest will she make using simple interest? Okay, so I'm going to take that $1,000 that she's invested. I'm going to times it by the 4%. And then she had it for 5 years, so because it's 5 full years, I'm going to multiply it by 5 at the end. Okay, so here we go. 1,000 times 4 over 100 times 5, and that will tell me that is $200. Okay, so that she will earn $200 in interest. Okay, so at the end, her bank account will say Okay, at the end of 5 years, we'll actually say $1,200. Nice working, Marie. Okay. Okay, so let's just talk about that foreign currency. It's going to be I'm going to use the US dollar. Now, currently, 1 New Zealand dollar equals, and I'm actually using the real rate, 0.69 US dollars. Now, what that means is that if I take $1 New Zealand, I'm going to get 69 cents US. All right, so the US is actually worth more. Okay, so to do a calculation, there's two kinds of calculations you can do here. So let's just split the page in half. If I have $200 New Zealand and I want to turn them into US dollars, then I take the 200 and I times it by the 69 cents. Okay, so 200 times the 69 cents, and that will give me $138 US. Okay, so I'm going to have less because the US dollar is worth more. On the other hand, if I do the other way, if I have 200 US dollars and I want to turn them into New Zealand dollars, then I'm going to end up with more. So what you do there is you take the 200, and that's right, instead of timesing, you divide by the 0.69, the 69 cents. And that will tell you, you will end up with, wow, $289.86. Okay, so the key is knowing which is more, all right, okay, to start off with. In this case, $1 New Zealand equals less than $1 US, so the US is worth more. Okay, good luck.